Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's wonderful to see such a nice turnout on Friday morning. Thanks for the momentum and energy after a busy week, and we're really excited to speak about animal detection systems this morning. We've been thinking a lot about how advances have translated into standards, technology, and training with a focus on a real impact for communities. We have an exciting panel today, bringing perspectives from across the system. From the GICHD, we have Stanislav, or Stan Damjanovic, Program Manager for Standards and Operations, who brings over a decade of mine action field experience with the GICHD and the Halo Trust. He'll walk us through recent updates to ADS within the International Mine Action Standards Framework. From Norwegian People's Aid, we have Axel Steen Nielsen, Head of Humanitarian Mine Action and Disarmament, with 25 years of mine action experience across 9 countries and a background as a military officer. He'll share operational experience from Cambodia and Bosnia with a focus on localization and capacity building. From Opopo, Michael Hyman, Head of Mine Action Programs and member of the IMAS Review Board, with extensive operational and technical experience in mine action, will bring insights from Ukraine and Azerbaijan with a strong lens on innovation, localization, and evolving practice. From the Cambodian Mine Action Center, Swan Praseth, or Praseth Prum, Senior Director overseeing international cooperation and project management since joining the sector in 2002, with responsibility for a large portfolio of mine action projects and partnerships, will highlight national ownership and the pathway towards sustainable animal detection system capacity. And my name is Tammy Bunbury. I'm Head of Program for the UN Office for Project Services Peace and Security Cluster. I'm very happy to have you with us today. Now, before we turn to the panel, let me briefly share the perspective from UNOPS in this space. UNOPS has been working with explosive detection dogs for well over a decade across a wide range of operational contexts. Currently, we have operations in 19 countries and territories around the world and deploy over 100 explosive detection dogs in multiple contexts. We support mine action operations and explosive threat mitigation contexts in diverse and often complex contexts. Performance in the field is directly linked to the strength of the system behind the dog. Over time, this has led to continuous refinement of our approach and has culminated in a comprehensive set of ADS requirements and guidelines, which is built on nearly 15 years of operational experience. Now, we've been operating in a mine action environment for nearly 30 years, and that brings with it a set of tools that has enabled us to deepen both the standards and the policy around our operations. Within UNOPS's toolbox, we have grants and contracts, which includes over $55 million of grants and contract implementation every year. We have a pool of experts that is deployed around the world with specific technical expertise, including in ADS. We do procurement and management of assets around the world. We have technical expertise in all areas of mine action, including ADS. Specifically with regard to this panel today, we have quality and risk management capacity, which includes standards, guidance, and SOPs, and then finally, partnership and innovation. And many of you have seen our booth at the entrance of the plenary this week. Please take a look at Compass if you haven't already, and our colleague Rory, who is an in-kind officer with the government of Switzerland, will be very happy to show you the ropes. Now, before I hand over to Stan on the standards themselves, I want to give a few key lessons that we have learned. Standards are really not abstract. They are operational enablers. They drive consistency, predictability, and ultimately efficiency on how an ADS is deployed. They enhance operational safety and effectiveness throughout the project lifecycle. Quality management and accreditation are absolutely essential. UNOPS is moving toward a structured, multi-tier accreditation system, ensuring that performance is measurable and sustained over time. And very critically, animal welfare is not a side issue, it's mission critical. From veterinary oversight to health monitoring and proper kenneling, the well-being of dogs is directly underpins operational effectiveness. We see this so often because the contexts we work in are so difficult, really hot climates, difficult terrain, and that impacts animals as much as it does humans. And importantly, ADS is evolving into a broader multidisciplinary capability, way beyond explosive detection alone, requiring even stronger systems, governance, and standards. So for UNOPS, these standards matter for 3 reasons. 1, efficiency, 2, welfare, and 3, ultimately, the impact for communities. So we recently updated our ADS standards and canine requirements and guidelines by broadening the scope and including veterinary requirements associated with well-being. These updates enable UNOPS to further enable the quality management system and technical accreditation to a wider range of specialist canine services. So now, Stan, let me turn to you to take us through the latest developments in ADS with IMAS. Over to you.
Thanks, Tammy, and good morning to everyone. Clicker. Very nice to be this morning here, and I will, from GACHD side, basically just set the scene and talk a little bit about the latest development in IMAS related to animal detection systems, with a particular focus or particular touch on 731, which was approved and published in 2026, so very fresh. So for me, being here is very nice and symbolic in a way, although I was not directly involved in the latest revision of 731. I was leading or chairing the review group approximately from 2020 to 2022 when we were deciding that it's a right time, that the standards are ripe for a proper, thorough revision, especially those ones related to animal detection systems. And in preparing for this morning, I was actually going through some of the old documents and minutes, trying to find some interesting stuff. And one sentence, actually the very, very first sentence in the terms of references for the review group was saying, the standardization of animal detection systems for mine action has proven to be somewhat contentious issue. So this is how we started our TOR. And I will just drive us a little bit through history of these standards and how we came to where we are today. So the original, or the most recent, this is like a snapshot, the most recent history says that there was a mandate given to the revision of these standards somewhere in 2012, with some attempts to revise them, with some documents submitted in 2016, 17, and 18. But there was a lot of pushback for various reasons. And I'm very happy to sit here today and say that the animal detection systems are now really much proven and approved and accepted tool in a larger toolbox, which was not definitely not always the case. So in 2018 and 2020, there was a lot of talk about the need for revising the standards, and 20 to 21, basically the group was established from various experts, and I can see some of you here in the room and some even here on the panel, where we were trying to see how to make these standards better in terms of building the confidence needed into animal detection systems. As I said, they were, for right or wrong reason, I'll let you decide, always contentious issue, but I think these standards played a huge role in bringing ADS to where it is today in the context of mine action. With lots of work in 2022, this group was then dismantled and submitted the latest standards, of which 731 at the time was completely new chapter. So this is also a beauty of standards in mine action, and beauty of what we do as a community is not standing still always, but also always accepting changes and making sure that the changes in the fields are codified and reflected in the latest standards. And latest you will see here on the screen is revision of IMA 731 in 2026, although it was revised, or sorry, developed fully only about 4 years ago. it already went through significant changes, and those are not just cosmetic, but actually some quite substantive changes, which we will hear also further today. So why does it matter? Why these standards matter? So standardization of performance and credibility, we heard a little bit from UNOP's perspective, to which we agree. Safety and risk management, these standards are very important for that. Consistency of animal detection system deployment globally, but also interoperability and integration with other systems. So again, these standards are not standalone set of standards. They are consistent with other chapters across the IMAS, and they do allow for interoperability on the level of organization, but also on a larger regional and global level. Also, there is a unified accreditation now established based on these standards, and they facilitate national mine action authority and donor acceptance, which ultimately lead to benefits for the communities, and that this work is then reflected through the impact that we have on communities. And basically it builds accountability and, as I said earlier, a greater confidence overall in this tool and methodology. With this, I will just then now shift to 731 specifically, and I will just give a very brief overview. I don't intend to read every single line here. I mean, you can see them on the screen, but there have been a revision which was triggered by mainly the operators, such as Apopo, such as MPA, who are here on the panel, to make sure that these standards, first and foremost, better reflect the operational realities, but then this is not a one-way process, it's also to return to the field to help the operators, to help the national mine action authorities, to overcome some of the obstacles that were identified in the operations. And again, I will say this is where I really like our mine action community and the approach to standards. It's a very dynamic approach, and I can't stress this enough. Yes, for sure, we can all identify some standards that probably are a little bit lacking, but we are doing our best as a community to make sure that everything that's happening in the field is reflecting these standards. There are two ways about it, and as you probably all know, some of these things start in the field and then they find their way into standards, and I think a lot of that is reflected in a 731. There is a 730, which is a general accreditation standard, but there was a need from the field, which was raised to the IMAS Review Board by the operators, that there is a need for a specific accreditation when it comes to animal detection systems, and then this was further supported by certain test and evaluation protocols, setting up the test ground, and so on and so on. It was also interesting to know that there was one chapter, I think 943, which we back in the day discredited. So again, this is just to illustrate that these standards don't stand still. We also don't want to keep something which is not anymore needed in reality. So again, a few changes happen. You can read them here, and I think I will stop here and hand over to the next speaker, because as much as I like these standards, as much as I contributed to them, I'm also very keen to hear from the operators, from the national authorities, how this is now reflected in the field. Is this working, or are we going to have more revisions soon? And let me finish just with one trivia or interesting thing, if I may. I learned this once I've submitted this presentation to UNOP, so this is why I don't have a slide on it. I was talking to our friends from Sri Lanka, and I just learned that there are tests ongoing with the Sri Lankan humanitarian demining unit on testing the mongoose. So the sentence where it says animal detection systems reflect animals, but these are dogs and rats currently in use, there may be a need for a revision to reflect these new changes based on the results. So maybe just to leave it there and hand over to Axel. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Stan. An overview of the standards is really important and how they're evolving. So let's shift from standards to implementation. Axel, you've been working with ADS across different operational contexts. Over to you.
Thanks, Tammy, and thanks, Stan. It's a good introduction there on standards. So from MPA side, we will then try to look more at the operational perspective and also how we are able to transfer it over to national ownership. So MPA, we started using dogs back in 1995. So we have now more than 3 decades of experience using dogs in the sector of mine detection. So with that, we have extensive experience, something that we also have tried to share with our partners around in the world as things have developed. In 2004, we established a global training center for mine detection dogs. It's in Sarajevo. And since the establishment, they have produced, with breeding, training, and transfer, more than 2,000 dogs to 26 countries across the globe. We think that, with the scale and consistency across different operation environment, we have really been able to contribute, how to use mine detection dogs, that we have then worked with GICHD, developing the IMAS, later on also POPO, CMAC, and with that we have now been establishing a robust ADS system that we think is very useful for the sector. Very important part of how we have been able to establish as a robust system is through focus on quality and information management. We are taking all the data from ground and up, making sure that we are able to then to have all results in a very comprehensive database system. We are collecting data live through Survey 123, implementing it, uploading it into this database, creating live dashboards like you see an example of here, so that we can see what every single dog is producing. We see all their findings, also if they make mistakes. We have training records. Everything is in the same place. We can look at single dogs, we can look at all the dogs in one country program, we can look at our dogs on a global perspective, we can look at the dogs that are focusing on finding landmines, the one that are focusing more on cluster munition. And based on all of this, we can make very comprehensive analysis, good plans, and further develop methods on how to best to use dogs in this type of work. So with this systematic field level data, we think that, we are sure that this gives increased confidence that this is working. We have better decision making, and we are able to continuously improve the quality and the outputs from the work. Improvement and innovation. Apopo will speak more about innovation, but I just wanted to say that's also very much the focus for us in MPA. We have this practical cycle that we are using in that sense. We want to test new ideas, then we evaluate them, we work further on them, we approve, and then we apply them in the field operations. Our research also include focus on genetics of the animals, biochemistry, and also, as Stan mentioned, or was it Tammy, sorry, veterinary support and science. We have just moved to new facilities in Sarajevo, co-located with NATO. So we have very up-to-date modern facilities that are very practical and useful to help us do all of these improvements and innovations. And all of this because we want to have good operations and we want to focus on capacity development and localization with local national partners. We are assisting national actors that want to develop their own capacity on animal detections, so to help them both build up and to sustain this capacity. That it's not only focusing on the actual dogs, We are looking at the whole chain, everything. It's an ecosystem where we are also looking at the handlers, training team leaders, trainers. We are also looking at infrastructure. We're giving technical support, and we help them develop systems that are tailor-made for their own country and their own problem. So let me just finish saying that the MPA MDD capacity really demonstrates a high-level operational system that are supporting localization, national ownership, and long-term sustainability. Thank you. And over to Michael.
Thank you very much, Axel. That operational perspective, including the continuous learning cycle, is really important. I'm going to hand over to Michael from Apopo. I know you're working across different contexts, including Ukraine and Azerbaijan. I'd love to hear about how you're seeing ADS evolve in these environments. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Tammy, and thanks, Dan and Axel, for touching these topics. Michael from Apopo. I'm going to try to do it as quick as possible and try not to repeat the things that were said by my colleagues previously. We have 429 animals in total in 8 countries. We have technical survey dogs, mine detection dogs, and mine detection rats. No mongooses yet, maybe later, but good news. Looking forward to see how that goes. We are, in the last few years, we are constantly experiencing growth. I think that the technical survey dogs is the main catalyst for that, and of course operations in Ukraine. A bit about what Stan started with on standards. We saw the previous 731, we saw over the last 3-4 years that the national authorities and agencies, they have difficulties to implement exactly what it says. Because 731, unlike many other standards, is a very straightforward thing, and national authorities normally adopt the standard as it is because it's very detailed and it's very specific. So we amended a few things just to make it very clear to people who plan to accredit animals. We simplified the steps. We added chapters on handler conduct, of what handlers can do or can't do, on items, on extent of testing areas, and so on. I think that today it's much more straightforward and easy to understand. You touched about health and welfare. I think enough was said in Apopo as well. When you have a lot of animals working around the world, the only way to control and to make sure that everything is okay is through very advanced and rigid information management systems. As you know, animals, they can't speak or file a complaint. So the only way for us to see that all the 429 animals we have are healthy and in good shape is through very detailed databases. A bit about sustainable ownership. So we've been doing several projects in capacity building with animals. I think that it's quite complex because it takes a bit longer, and we see from time to time, we see donor countries requesting to assist with animals, or sometimes requests come from the national authorities, and the challenge is that in many occasions it's just not sustainable. We see requests, okay, can you train 4 dogs and give it to someone? That's not gonna work like that. And we have a national operator here that wants to build a breeding facility already. They still don't have operational dogs. They already want to build a breeding facility or to invest $1 million in kennels for 120 dogs and so on. So I think that the design is very important here. We saw over the last few years that the first phase of any capacity building initiative, if we really want this to be sustainable, if we really want the organizations to do it themselves, is through a confidence building phase. Confidence building phase is that we bring the tools that we trained, because like Axel said here, we are doing it for many, many years, to bring these tools to train the first group of people and put them in operations, and then let the national agency see that they can do it themselves, that it's possible. Also the systems, they need to adjust themselves a bit, I mean the operational systems in this organization, and only after the confidence building stage, only after the national partner sees that they can do it themselves, only then we can go and start building their dog training capacity, the training of people, and so on. And overall, when we were requested to draft similar roadmaps, like the one you can see here, it takes about 5 years until the department can actually do things completely by itself, with, of course, some mentoring from us or from organizations like NPA. So it's something that takes time. I think that overall, we see the scope for animals in mine action growing, and I think it's because of 3 main reasons. One is that we are better in collecting data today. We can actually examine our techniques and methodologies, and we can present it in a better way. One of the things I'm going to talk about is the track and trace systems, that you will see it in a moment. Second is related to innovation in training methodologies. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, us and NPA, we share a lot of information, but as you see today in the Olympics, people are running faster and they're jumping higher. So the dogs that you've seen, it's because methodologies change. The dogs you've seen working in countries in 2001 or 2002, sometimes I find myself in conversations, people tell me, yes, I saw them in 1998 in Iraq. Yeah, but that's not the same. Things have changed and things have improved. And like people run faster and jump higher, so dogs also search better, and dogs are stronger and healthier, and eventually it also affects the results. And that's why I think that the credibility of animal detection systems in the sector is also something that is growing. The second reason is related to the type of contamination, and in my opinion, that as we go, we see more and more hazardous areas with scattered contamination. We see more and more scenarios where there is a need of confidence building, and we see more and more countries with a lot of metal scrap that slow down metal detectors. So I think that this is also a reason why animals are more in need and why we see so much demand comparing, for example, to 5 or 7 years ago. Related to the scope for animals in general, we already, I think NPA, they share the same perspective, but we saw, especially after Ukraine, that the scope for animals is much larger than what Apopo and the NPA and other partners can deliver. That's why we decided also to invest more time and effort in capacity building, in working with national operators and building their capacity to do it themselves. We are involved very shortly in 2 projects at the moment, following this roadmap. One with Anama in Azerbaijan, where we're just completing phase 1, and one with CESU in Ukraine, that there is a build-up of an additional dog training center in Merefa, and we hope to begin with this very, very soon. One thing that we identified is the need. Well, every time when people talk about dogs, they always talk about handlers and dogs and team leaders and trainers and so on. In reality, we identified that there is a gap. There is another layer that we feel that it's good to train, which are the managers. So we built a 2-week training package that we call ADS management course, that is not for handlers and trainers and kennel assistants. It's for managers. I think that some of the managers who are touching animals from time to time are sitting here with us. We built a course for that, where we train people on the integration, on knowledge, how to deploy, how to integrate those assets alongside machines and manual deminers. We obviously put a lot of emphasis on standards, some like the recent changes that Stan was talking about, so people can understand the standards and can work with the standards, and can also understand how to write their own national standards and SOPs and so on. And the third layer is basically the performance, how you plan with animals, logistics, personnel, welfare, and long-term program management. We ran this course with participants from Ukraine and Azerbaijan over the last winter, and we are going to repeat this training in Cambodia in February 2027. A bit of innovation. So usually when we work with technical survey dogs, that's what you're going to get. I think I don't need to explain too much. This topic was covered quite a lot in the last couple of years here in different events. We use track and trace systems for technical survey dogs, so you can make better decisions on area reduction. We are trying to change our track and trace systems now. As we all go and use more and more ArcGIS online, IMSMA Core, we currently using Garmin tracking systems, and the challenge with that is that we need to download the tracks, and then we need to upload them to ArcGIS Online and create buffers and so on. So we want to smoothen this process to make it more direct. We want to see the devices that our handlers use. We want to see these tracks going online directly via Bluetooth, and unfortunately Garmin doesn't allow that, so we are testing new systems, as you can see here, that basically allow the tracks to go immediately online. And for example, if you are managing operations and you're sitting in the operations room or somewhere in your office and you go to the dashboards, you can see the movements of the dogs immediately and not just at the end of the day, which improves even further the decision making of this process. That's it. Thank you very much, and I'll move to my colleague Praset, who I think that was working with NPA for many years and dealing with the dog center in Kampong Chhnang. So thank you very much. Praset, over to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Michael. And Mr. Prom, I would love to hear how this translates from building sustainable national capacity and your experience in Cambodia. Over to you.
Thank you very much thanks Tammy, thanks Dan and Axel and Mike. We've been in this sector together for many years. Before I begin, allow me to just bring you briefly back to the history of our country. I'm sure you're fully aware of Cambodia, so we just been revived from war torn for over three decades. So following the successful UN's mission in Cambodia back in 1993, the United Nations pulled out, the new government was established, and Cambodian Mine Action as a national entity was established. With that legacy, we had support. We had the support from the Swedish Armed Forces. Again, I'd like to thank the government of Sweden for their support back in those days. So initially, we received a training system from Swedish Armed Forces since 1996 until 2003, and then the Swedish force handed over to us to take care of the program by ourselves. But of course, we were not ready. And again, thanks to NPA at the time, you jumped in to support us. We continued that partnership with NPA for many years until today. But of course, with less independent, dependence on NPA funding at the time. So we continue the system with NPA, and we mostly focus on the long leash search system, and then slowly move into long leash, and then to the technical survey dog, and then the explosive dog, which search for cluster munition, and so on and so forth. And then in 2018, we also start testing the what we call third generation dog, which is kind of free running with our partner Popo. And aside from that, we also involved with training, provision of training to national agency across Cambodia, for example, the anti-drug police, anti-terrorism, for example, and we help to train, build this capacity to other national agency across Cambodia, because we are the only one national entity that has the detection dog capacity, or probably one of the largest, if I can say, by current standard. We're currently operating around the world, compared to other. With that, our program has come a long way, with challenges, difficulty, incremental improvement as we go on, and we continue to cooperate with our partner NPA and of course Popo, and up until 2014 we start to kind of deeply think about how we can continue to operate in a manner that we have a better, a stronger ownership for the program. So we came up with a strategy, proper missions, and finally we managed to establish a fully functioning facility for the mine detection dog program. So we have the veterinarian service, we have a training ground, all fully equipped. But again, I thank our partner, I mean, without which we are not here today. And we are even able now to provide a trained dog to our partner to operate across the globe. So the achievement so far that I think we can be proud of is since 1999 until today, our dog team, sometimes it go, different, because of different funding, different projects, sometimes the team can be down, can be up, but overall, the dog alone can release over 171 square kilometer, and they have found over 300,000 pieces of landmine in UXO over the course of 20 years plus. And we are able to deploy this tool across Cambodia. And also the capacity to replenish the retired dog, the aging dog. Let me go back a little bit. Currently, we have over 80 dogs in training and 59 dogs in operation across the country. As you can see, probably that photo is quite interesting. It's quite historic one, and the dog was carrying its own water bowl, going to the minefield early in the morning. So we, I mean, as a strategy going forward, we want to maintain a strong national capacity, strong national ownership of the program, sustainability of the national capacity, and of course, not forgetting, working with our partner like NPA and Apopo had mentioned about your advanced tool in terms of monitoring the performance of your dogs and health and well-being. I think this is probably our next step, and I feel it's quite logical as we try to bring our service to the world, to our friends and partners around the world. This is a logical step that we aim to achieve to that next level. As a national organization, so there's limitations and strength that you can operate as compared to international NGO where you can easily move. But for us to really deploy our asset in other country, there need to be authorization from a higher up from our government. So this is probably our limitation. So we will continue to focus on probably three main areas. That's we need a sustainable breeding program, a breeding puppy and training, and expand, the technical survey as Cambodia's aim to complete the job by 2030. And of course, for cluster contamination, we aim to complete by 2035. Actually, yesterday, the Cambodian government has just approved the national strategic plan for mine action that we aim to get rid of this problem somehow, at least by 2035. And then we move on to focus on other areas, because we also going to graduate from the least developed country nation status. So whether you want it or not, we need to upgrade this as well. And of course, we have recently started expanding our international cooperation profile with the support from government of Japan. We will try to share the experience and the expertise that we have gained over the past 30 years. Of course, with the support from our partners, friends, and donor country, we will not forget that. And again, I thank you very much. What I can be proud of is that there has never been any single accident involved with our MDD operation over the last 20 years plus. There was one, but we conducted an investigation, and it was a breach of SOP, nothing wrong or nothing to do with the dog itself. So with that, I think we can see that Cambodia is probably the epitome of the successful, strong national ownership and localization. And again, thanks to all for all the support that made us where we are today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Praseth. It's a really nice conclusion to see the full cycle of how we collaborate together and the constant communication that we see between policies, standards, operations on the ground, and that continuous learning cycle is a really exciting element of this work, and I know it kind of crosses the entirety of the mine action sector. Now, before we turn over to the panel for any final comments, I'd love to hear any questions or feedback from the audience.
Thank you very much. My name is Shahab Hakimi. I'm involved in mine action since 3 decades, not only in Afghanistan, but in our region, and Tajikistan, in Sudan, in Yemen, using dogs in those countries. Sorry, I have questions, but at the same time, before that, I have some little bit introductory comments also. We started this program, Mine Detection Dog Program, in 1989 by the help of those days UN officers in Islamabad, and by supporting US government and later German government and United Nations directly. And we continued till now. And until 2014, we used dogs tremendously in different parts of the country. And in addition to that, internationally, as I told you, in our region, we supported other programs also. As all these gentlemen said about the capacity, all this capacity was established by the assistance of the UNPS in those days. Amir is here. And still that continues. What I'm saying and proposing is, it's very nice that all of us are here. Now we have a lot of problems in our region, in Middle East, and other parts of the world to solve and clear mines and UXOs in emergency situation like beat it during 90s and 2000. What I'm proposing that we think that we should work together and we use and benefit from each other the capacity and experiences. This is very important. And if we do that, I'm sure that this present situation that right now we have bombs and UXOs all over the Middle East and other, this will be solved in a very short of time, because at the beginning when we start using dogs, we cleared a lot of lands in Afghanistan. At the same time, it's a technical and non-technical survey by these tools, mine detection dog. It's very cheap, it's very safe, and very, what we can say, in a very short time, we can achieve the goals. So my proposal that I think we should establish a sort of, by the help of UNPS, a sort of coalition that we should work together and use each other capacity in the future. Thank you very much. And my question about the NPA, sorry. I think your delegation was in Afghanistan, and I'm sorry, I was not in that meeting over there. But anyway, if you would like to work in Afghanistan, we have about 1,000 square kilometers remain over there. If we use dogs over there together, and then we can solve this problem in a very short time, not 10 years, not another 15 years. Maybe in 2, 3, or 4 years, we solve the problem over there. Thank you. Have you planned to work together over there in Afghanistan?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. And yes, you're right. we had a mission to Afghanistan, and we really want to kind of establish a partnership with local implementers in Afghanistan, because we know that with so many years of experience from national capacities, it's a real shame with the current funding situation that you are not able to operate. So if we are able to establish ourselves there, working through national partners, MDDs will of course be very high on our priority list of tools and systems that we want to deploy, because you're very correct. In that type of environment, with the type of contamination present in Afghanistan today, I think that the use of ADS are an excellent tool and could definitely increase the speed and complete the problem much faster than what is currently the situation.
Absolutely, and just following on to your comments about the partnership and collaboration in Afghanistan over the last 30 years, absolutely, like we learn the lessons, and we within the UN system, UNOPS and the Mine Action Service have been with you in Afghanistan for nearly 30 years, and we've learned so much. And I think it goes to exactly like the context in Cambodia, where we take all of the knowledge that we learn alongside you over the years, and then we feed that into the system so that we can do better and more over time, right? And so it's super appreciated, and we commit to continuing to have this exchange and dialogue.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Williams, presently at Global Clearance Solutions, but before that I was at MEChem of South Africa for many years. And MEChem arguably also had one of the biggest dog programs right in the beginning. So firstly, I want to thank the panel, because I think it was a very good presentation today, really excellent. And I want to agree with what Michael was saying, that things have really changed since those early days. And one of the things that I really saw what you guys were presenting is that your handler today cannot just be someone who you don't want to use anywhere else when you make him a handler. This guy has to be able to manage, has to keep statistics, all this type of thing. So I think that's the first thing that I really noticed today, that our handlers have to be of a much higher standard. And I think you guys do it. You must, one must tell them that they are the important, a very, very important part of this whole program. But what I also wanted to say about some of my experience with MEChem, and I think some of the gentlemen also touched it, was that often you would get people wanting to buy dogs from you, and they would go into that, and we tried to say that we would like to give you the dog with a handler, exactly like, Michael, you guys are doing for us at this stage in Azerbaijan, but, and then we found specifically in Africa, because we worked in Africa quite a lot, that 6 months later you will go to that country and you'll see that those dogs have just been fed for 6 months. They weren't trained, they weren't kept fit, because it was almost a vanity project to say we've got dogs. So I think that was one of the things that I did not like about the dog business when you were going into Africa, and that's why I'm glad today that it's programs, and you don't just sell off a dog, because it's not a vehicle. And to get that into people's minds that this is an asset, but you can't just throw it down, and when you want to start it up, you quickly start it up. It does not work that way. So that was very important that I saw that, and I'm very glad that you guys are concentrating on that. And then a last thing, a question and a statement. Very close to my demise from MEChem, we found that ladies were some of our best dog handlers. They had a much more, I don't know why, something in their hands, the way they could handle the dog. It was always soft, but the dogs were performing. And I don't know if you people have had the same experience, that there's a massive role for ladies in the dog business, even though people thought it was never their terrain. It is definitely a terrain where we can use ladies much more. I'd just like your opinion on that. And thank you very much for what you guys are doing for the dog business. I think this is the last time I will be at these meetings. I'm also going into retirement. And I just thought it's important that I just tell you guys, thank you for what you're doing, and please keep it up. And let's speak to one another. As I say, years ago, I was still part of the working group at the GICHD, but that's very, very many years ago. Michael, I think you were also there. So, but thank you very much for everything, guys, and keep it up. Thanks.
Yeah, can I? Thank you for for the statement and the question. About the women and overall gender balance, of course, we are operating with women and men handlers. We haven't seen many differences, but today, I think, especially in some countries, we have a higher percentage of female handlers. But we don't see any difference in performance. Both are good. Also, sometimes we try to fit the character of the dog to a person. You have very large dogs, almost look like horses. And then you have very small ones, so we also try to fit them to the right people. But I think the gender today doesn't play a role. We have from both sides, and it kind of comes in naturally. But yes, it's true that sometimes there are people who are more sensitive, who are more soft, and actually the dogs, they react much better to these persons, whether they are men or women. Just to emphasize exactly what you said, that dogs are not vehicles or metal detectors. It's very unwise to donate dogs to someone just as they are, because you don't know who's going to be using them and how they're going to be used. So it's very inefficient to just give dogs away and also to lease dogs. When we operate in, whether it's under the UN or in commercial contracts, we always give the full capacity and the umbrella. We are not giving our dogs to be used by other people who were not trained by us, because that's basically negligence. How can you give your child to someone that you don't know if this person can handle your child? This is completely irresponsible. That's why these models we simply refuse. If someone wants us to rent a dog, it doesn't happen. We don't do it. It's with the full team that is fully ours, with the team leader, with the handlers, with the health and welfare umbrella, with our people who come and make sure that they're ready, and so on. And of course, by doing that, we also basically kind of guarantee that this team will be operational. And if the team will not be operational, then we will bear the consequences. Yeah, but it's absolutely 100%, and I think this is the only way to do it. And unfortunately, we still hear about occasions where large numbers of dogs, I see in Ukraine especially, large number of dogs are donated by some countries, donated to be mine detection dogs, and I'm talking about 20, 30, 40 dogs donated to government entities. When the government receives them, first, they don't know how to train mine detection dogs, and secondly, in many occasions, they find out that these dogs were not even trained for mine detection. They are security dogs. And then, also from an ethical perspective, we don't know how this will end up. I mean, this is completely irresponsible, and these dogs, eventually, they don't become operational. They find their way to other places. It's just a waste of resources. And again, I think it's also an issue, an ethical issue, that we shouldn't do things like that.
I just want to add on a bit to my colleague's comment. And so thank you for your comment. I think you're right in pointing that out. I mean, we ourselves experience day in, day out running this mine detection dog center, from operational team in the field to refresher training to kernel to all this various service. And it's a 24/7 operation, even though they're standing down from the field. When they're back in the training center, you need somebody there to take care of them. During the holiday, you got to manage this holiday rosters and yeah, based on observation, of course, our female colleague tend to be better in terms of handling a mine detection dog, and I can say that at this moment we have more female colleagues in this program than male as compared to the earlier day of this program, and I myself extensively had this field experience for about 3 years, just going follow up with all this program from the early day of setting up with our partner and NPA. So I can see that it's not an easy operation because it requires your attention all the time. Unlike mine detector, where you can park in your store, but this is not. This is animal with emotions, and thank you.
Thank you, Praseth. I think we're going to leave it here. So we've been talking a lot today about how ADS works best. So strong standards, sound operations, and national ownership coming together, all around the idea that this incredible tool in the toolbox is also, a living being, has welfare considerations, and the more we recognize that and integrate it into the way we do things, the better we deliver together. So for UNOPS, thank you very much in this room. The direction is clear. We need to continue to bridge standards, practice, and build systems that are scalable, sustainable, and grounded in operational reality, ensuring that ADS delivers real and measurable outcomes for affected communities. The technical capacity and experience in this room is incredible. We hope to continue the dialogue. Thank you all for your participation. Stan, Axel, Michael, Prasad, thank you very much. And it was a pleasure to work together. Thank you very much, everybody.